12 noon here in the United Kingdom on Sunday, the 22nd of May. Thank you for joining me to today's edition of Sunday Service. How are we all? Are we well? Good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are watching me from. It is time for Sunday Service. Any advice I do give on today's show is purely for entertainment purposes. Please never forget that, okay? It's an entertainment show. Also, if anybody comments on your comments with good afternoon, or inbox me, or a prize, or a gift, or a giveaway, or a competition, it is a scam. Don't fall for it. Hello, JD Robinson. Hello, Mo Ali. Hello in Manchester. Big shout out to everybody in Manchester as we remember today our precious 22. Our 22 people who sadly lost their lives 5 years ago today. We will remember them and we will not look back in anger. Yes, remembering our precious 22. So hello everybody who is joining me on today's Sunday service. How are we all? If you have been watching my stories on Instagram today, you can be rest assured that there'll be no more singing. I've been singing this morning and it's probably offended quite a lot of ears out there, and it's probably pissed the trolls off who think that I do singing on Instagram because I think I can sing. I sing because I can't sing, but that won't stop me, the fact that I can't, if that makes sense. But I can guarantee you, if you don't follow me on Instagram, please do. It's Antonella Uncensored. And I have been doing some singing today. I've been doing some reviews this morning. They've both been a shower of shite. I'm wearing a load of shite on my face that was sent to me for a review. That just, I feel, makes me look fucking dirty. Can be a bit dirty, but I don't like it on my face. So, gonna get this Sunday service done and then wash the shite off. Hello everybody and thank you for joining. Lots of lovely inboxes in the Sunday service inbox for today. Quite a few nighttime in Ellis, so hopefully it'll be back on Wednesday. If I don't go live with a show on a Sunday or a Wednesday, I don't advertise it. It's because I don't have any dear Auntie Nellies, and I will not, under any circumstances, write them myself. It just won't happen. It won't work the same, okay? Hello in Scotland, Victoria Ross. So yeah, if you want any Sunday services, dear Auntie Nellies, write into the page. Oh, it's so good to be here. It's so good to be with you all. I missed my hair appointment this week. So hopefully I'll be going back to black next week when I'm a lot better, because I did my back in last Sunday and it's been quite a traumatic week, but I'm finally back fit and fiddling, thanks to the chiropractor, which is Joseph Carob, who's in Rosendale. If you ever have anything wrong with your back, joints, mobility, you need to see him. He is a magician. Anyway, how are we all? You're telling me where you're watching me from. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me from. Once again, this show, any advice I give, is purely for entertainment purposes. So while I sit here talking, night but shite, shall we fucking get on? I think we should. I think we should see who is the first person today on Sunday that needs servicing by their Auntie Nellie. Dear Auntie Nellie Anonymous, please, just letting you know that anyone who writes into the page will always be anonymous. Hello Auntie Nellie, I need your advice. I've been dating a wonderful guy. I'll try and keep it short and not go into War and Peace. That'd be really nice, thank you. Okay. After being with him for a few months and me having a few red flags, I found out he's married. Oh, heck. I truly didn't know he was married till he confessed, to which I ended our relationship and blocked him. I'm mortified I've had a relationship with a married man. They have children too, but they aren't young. They are early 20s and don't live at home. Oh, the children, right, okay. The question is, do I tell his wife? I feel like I'd want to know. I can't even ask my friends as I'm embarrassed to tell them the real reason I ended the relationship. Thank you in advance. Okay, so you got in a relationship with somebody, you were a wonderful guy, you ignored the red flags that were fucking twatting you right back ahead, as we all do, we're all guilty of it. And then he says, hey, I've got something to tell you, I'm married. And you go, oh, fuck a duck, off your foot flower, hashtag bye Felicia, block. Do you tell his wife? Absolutely not, and I'll tell you why. That's for him to deal with. You've had your comeuppance, you were in a relationship with somebody, thought it were going well. Yeah, there were a few red flags, but you thought, well, we'll see where it goes. And it didn't go anywhere because he's a married man. You also talk of his children being like in the 20s and left home. He sounds like he's an older gentleman. I felt like a psychic then. I'm getting an older gentleman. I turned into fucking septic peg then. Okay, so no, you don't need to tell his wife, and no, you do not need to feel embarrassed. You have actually done a fantastic thing. The minute that you found out he would never belong to you because he was married, you let it go. So I absolutely salute you on that. You've done fuck all wrong. The shame is his. This is his problem. This is something he has to deal with. Just look at it that it's only been a few months. You've dodged a bullet. Let it go. And in future, what do? We listen to the red flags no matter how nice he is, how wonderful, how good looking, how big his fucking cock is. The red flags are there for a reason, aren't they? So don't dismiss the red flags in future. Moving on. Dear Auntie Nellie, anonymous please, you'll always all be anonymous, the answer worry. I got a lodger 6 months ago. Wonder where we're going with this one. As things have been very tough financially, and I just really needed the extra income. However, we started sleeping together. Oh, mixing business with bloody pleasure, here we go. Oh, now we kind of live together as a couple. He now sleeps in my room every night. I can hear you saying this is happening because you are allowing it to. Yes, that's true. That's not what I'm saying, but that's what I'm thinking. And I have, because I really like him. I've allowed it to happen like this because I really like him and I want to progress the relationship. But my question is, do I get another lodger? As I really need the extra income. What you saying that because now he's moved in as like a partner into your room and he's no longer the lodger, he's stopped paying you? Hang on a fucking minute. Whether it's the lodger and he's paying towards rent or he's living with you as a partner, he still has to tip half up, doesn't he? He still has to contribute. So tell him, just say, listen, I absolutely love what's happened in our relationship. I love where it's going. I'm excited to see where it goes. But the reason I took a lodger is because things were hard and I was struggling. So just because you're shagging me on a nightly basis, Flower, don't mean to say now that it's all fucking rent-free. So what we need to look at is, if you're actually living here now as my partner, what are you going to contribute? Because people don't live in people's houses for free. They just don't. So, yeah, do you need another lodger? Does that mean you'd need extra what he was paying and then extra again? Or what was he paying? Was it substantial enough to keep you, keep the wool from the door? So have that conversation. Just because he's now like your boyfriend doesn't mean to say that he can live there rent-free. So have the conversation. I know talking about money's not nice. I know it's not nice conversation. It's a bit classless, isn't it? But these things have to be discussed. There's a reason why you got him there in the first place. And he's moved into your bedroom. Unless you're keeping him in a fucking corner tied up and he's not using any food, any water, any gas and electric, then there's no reason why he shouldn't still be paying you what he was paying before. Okay, I hope that helps. I've seen quite a lot of angry faces today. Is it because I've had to wash my own hair and do it myself? What's up with y'all? Come on, send me the love. Give me that like. Give me that love. Give me that share. Come on, I want to feel the love today. Hello from Australia. Hello, Quinton. Hello, everybody. Dear Antonella, me and my boyfriend have just bought an house together. Congratulations. Everything was going great. The issue is, we work together. That's where we met. Another one mixing business with, it's my next door neighbour. My next door neighbour's tapping out window. What do you want? He's just saying that let him know when I finish this because he needs to start drilling. Not me. Oh no. Won't be fucking drilling me. I mean, you haven't seen him. But number two, I'm dead from waist down. I'm alright, me flower. Moving on. Right, so, bought a house together. Everything was great. The issue is, we work together. That's where we met. Recently, someone left and it opened up a promotion for us both. He went for it but didn't get it. Then after a few weeks, I got offered the promotion. It wasn't something I'd really thought about doing. I told him I'd been offered it and he wouldn't talk to me about it. Excuse me. I've decided to take it as will be good for us both financially. Since I took it, he hasn't spoken to me at all. Oh, I can't explain to him why I took it because he won't talk to me. Oh, now then. He's been making me sleep on the sofa since, and I think this is unfair. I would never do this to him. I don't know what to do and I'm so upset. So you met a fella at work, got on really well, bought a first house together, moved in, somebody left where you work, a promotion appears, he goes for it, didn't get it, but you've been offered it, and you think, well, I'll take it because it's going to be really good for us. I'm climbing up the job ladder and plus it's extra income. But you can't tell him that because he won't speak to you and he's got you on the sofa. Do you really want to be living in a house with somebody that makes you sleep on the sofa every time something doesn't go their way, every time they spit the fucking dummy out? Sounds to me like he's a man-child, he's not very mature, and he's not dealing with this in a mature fashion. I think it's absolutely right that you've accepted the new job role and you're looking to climb up the career ladder. I think you've done it for the right reasons because you think, you know, this is really beneficial for my CV, and also it's extra income. I think it's a fantastic thing. The fact that he can't congratulate you on it and he can't be your biggest cheerleader is what we expect from our partners. Is he the right person for you? I wouldn't be buying a house with him. I mean, what's he going to do next? What's he going to say is, well, I can't afford to pay that bill. You'll have to pay it because you get more money than me because you've got a better job. This is a recipe for fucking disaster. And you're accepting to sleep on settee. He's told you to sleep on sofas, so you're doing. Fuck that shit. You need to sit him down now at the kitchen table and you need to have a mature, honest, brutally frank conversation about how he's acted, how he's behaved, how it's made you feel, and what your expectations on are ongoing. And if his attitude doesn't change, then off he fucks. Off he actually fucks, because this is nothing but a red flag for what can happen in the future. Congratulations on your promotion at work. Here's a bit of Olbic to you. Get it sorted sooner rather than later. Moving on. Dear Auntie Nellie, I am very close to my sister. Every year we go on holiday together. We both like the same things, so it's very easy and we have a wonderful time. However, my other sister has said recently, are you both going away with you this year? If so, I would love to come. It would be nice if all three of us went together. This sister, although we love her, if we all went together, this sister isn't really someone we would be friends with if we weren't related. Oh, we have nothing in common and we don't want it to spoil our holiday. How do we say we don't want her to come without hurting her feelings? There's no other way to tell somebody that you don't want them to come without hurting the feelings. How are you going to say it? How are you going to say, I don't want you to come on our holidays because you might spoil it because we don't right like you. And if you weren't my sister, I wouldn't right speak to you. If we weren't related, we wouldn't be friends. How the fuck do you say that without hurting someone's feelings? There's no way to say it. And what do you mean? What do you mean you won't have a nice time Because why? This sister, although we love her, isn't really someone we'd be friends with. Why? Because you have nothing in common. I've got loads of friends, not best friends, acquaintances. We haven't got much in common. But that doesn't mean to say that I can't learn things from them. Every day's a school day. They can't learn things from me. It's your fucking sister. It is your sister. Family first. But sounds to me like she's fucking Cinderella and you're fucking the two ugly stepsisters to me. That's a hot, and I'm not saying aesthetically, but you're being horrible. There's no way you could tell her not to come on your holidays without it being horrible and hurting her feelings. The fact that she's asked, it'd be nice for us all to go together. Yeah, it would. Yeah, actually, it fucking would be nice, actually. Let's go. And yeah, you might have one that reads magazines by the pool. You might have one that wants to go fucking hiking on mountains all day. And you might have one that gets pissed up at bar on 2-for-1 cocktails. Not everybody is going to be exactly the same as you in life. And isn't that a good thing? Because I'd rather have less of you and more of her. So there's no other way than doing it. If you really don't want her to come, you're going to tell her and you're going to hurt her feelings. End of. End of. But I think all three of you should go. You should have a fantastic time making memories, because believe me, life is too fucking short. It really is. Moving on, dear Antonelli, I am 25 and planning of moving in with my boyfriend. We're so excited and I should be the happiest girl in the world. But for one thing, it's me mum. Oh God, if it's not one thing, it's always mother, isn't it? My parents are divorced and it's just been me and her at home since then. But all of a sudden, she's saying she disapproves of my boyfriend. And he is totally wrong for me and will only cause me heartache. Nothing could be further from the truth. I think this is all about her not wanting to let me go. I almost feel she's going to say I've got to choose between him and her, which would be crazy. What can I do? You're 25 and mum needs to let you go, and she needs to let you learn from your own mistakes, and we need to let our children go through heartache to learn. Honest to God, every day is a school day. As I've just said, I'm 48 now and I learn something new every day. Of course, it's heartbreaking for a mum when the children go off to college, go off to university, get their own place, move in with a partner. You want to keep them at home forever, under your control almost, because you know they're safe and looked after and happy and healthy, and you don't actually believe as a mum that anybody else can take care of this child like you can. But that's something about her having fear, and she's scared, and I think it's about having an open conversation with mum. She's scared of everything that's happening to her, such as the divorce. Maybe that could happen to you. Maybe she's scared that once you move in with somebody, things might change, because that might have happened to her. I think it's about having this conversation with mum and telling her that no matter what happens, she'll always be your number one, she'll always be your mum. You'll nip in regularly and see your phone calls won't stop, whatever it is that keeps you connected. But you need to move on. You're 25 and you're so happy and you're so in love. And God forbid, if he does break your heart, you know that she'll be there for you. But it's time for you to move on. But you've also got to make sure that she knows that she has to let you go. It's part of life. She can't keep you there at home with mum as a spinster forever. So I don't think she's doing it from a malice. I don't think there's any malice in what she's doing. I think she's just terrified. And as parents, we get terrified. I have a daughter who's 27 in October and lives in that there London, and she's lived there for 9 years. No, not 9 years. Can't be 9 years. 18, 7, 8, 9, 8. Anyway, she's lived in London since she's 18. When she comes home to Haslingden, her bedroom is as it was, and she always says, "Mum, you need to do something with my room. Have it as a spare room, a guest room, or a walk-in wardrobe, or..." It's like a shrine, and it is like a shrine to her, because that's her bedroom. And I, as a mum who has a child that doesn't live at home permanently, have still got her bedroom here should she ever need it. that will always be Olivia's room. Mums, we can be a bit weird. We can do things that are a bit odd and not make sense to you, and maybe you won't know until you get your own. So go easy on Mum, but have that conversation, because all Mum is doing is trying to keep you in that love bubble where she knows you're safe, keep you away from the harms of the world, and she's terrified. She's just terrified. It's all come as a bit of a, well, it's all right if they get a boyfriend, and she still comes home every night because she lives here. The reality of you actually going is what's terrified her. So don't be nasty, don't be horrible. Have that conversation with her and put her mind at rest. And tell her that she's, you know, she's welcome to come round anytime she wants, and, you know, make her feel part of this happiness in your next chapter. And I wish you the best of luck. Dear Auntie Nelly, I have worked for a large corporate firm for the last 6 months. Very posh. I like my job and think that I'm quite good at it. Well, you know, let's wait for your one-to-one. A few weeks ago, I was coming back from lunch. I overheard a group of colleagues talking about me in a really nasty way. The conversation was being led by a colleague who is actually my supervisor. She was mimicking my accent and the way I walk. Have you got a funny walk? I think funny walks are quite fabulous, actually. They don't know that I heard them talking and laughing about me, but it's changed how I feel at work. I feel that everyone is talking about me whenever I leave the room, and it's making me feel anxious about going in each morning. It's got so bad, I now think maybe I should just find another job. What do you suggest? I suggest going seeing your supervisor, manager, the person above you who was in that talk with colleagues and mimicking your accent and the way you walk, and just saying, listen, don't want this to be a bit difficult, even though it is a bit difficult, but you know when you were all taking piss out of our talk and you were all taking piss out of our walk, I don't mind anybody having a laugh and a joke, but I really do feel it was at my expense, and it's upset me a bit, and you know, I'd appreciate it if you didn't do that again. So I would certainly approach the person firstly and tell them that you know. And I think them being a supervisor should put the fear of God into them, because then if that went higher, they would lose their position and maybe demoted or even sacked, because they're in like a role of trust and a role of well, they're like your superior, aren't they? So they've got that job because on their one-to-ones they're ticking boxes and showing that they're doing really well. Well, that's not something a supervisor, a manager, anybody above another colleague should ever do. It's not professional and it's not morally right. So I would certainly approach them firstly and tell them that you know and you prefer if it stopped. If it doesn't stop, then you go and see HR. You take it to human resources, and they will thank you the fact that you've been really mature about it and tried to deal with it at your level. I certainly won't leave a job that you love. I certainly won't think about being pushed out of a job just because you're working with people that are not very mature, are not very professional, and are just bullying and nasty. Be polite, be professional, don't mix with people like that. They're not our people. People that are like that are not our people, flower pots, are they? We don't get on with folk like that. We're nice to them and like, have a nice time, have a lovely weekend. Oh, is it your birthday? Have a nice time. But we're not our mates, are they? So you don't have to be mates with them, but remain respectful, polite and professional. If it doesn't stop once you've approached her, go to HR. Now, if you don't feel comfortable enough to go to this person and confront them, you can go to HR and miss out that bit. And then HR will probably pull that person in with you and they'll do a mediation. Okay? I mean, we all take the piss out of each other, don't we? How we walk, how we talk, things we do. But usually when we're doing it, that person's with us and we're all laughing about it together. People take piss out of me at work all the time, where I am, at things I say and things I do. Doesn't affect me because it's not really done in a bullying way, and it's not done in a manner where it's like behind my back, or, you know, you work with people that they become like your family because you see more of them than you do with the people that you actually live with or your friends, and so you've got to get on, haven't you? It's funny because you're thrown together with a load of people that you'd never normally cross paths with. So you've got to put up, haven't you? But you certainly don't have to shut up. And I think you should certainly approach them. But if you don't want to, go to HR. Dear Auntie Nellie, my brother passed away. I am so sorry, sending my love and condolences to you. I found out about it from a nephew who posted it on social media. Oh, heck. I find it absolutely disrespectful that my sister-in-law would not personally call me or any of my siblings to notify us that my brother died suddenly. I don't understand why my sister-in-law just left it up to her kids to notify us. And this nephew just posted it. Luckily, I'm on social media, but not everyone on is on social media. Oh God, I said that a lot. Auntie Nellie, what is your opinion on death notifications to relatives, especially immediate family members? Thanks. Okay, so right, so someone's died, and I think it should be the same etiquette for that person, whether it's a close person or somebody from local shop or someone in your area. I think once the immediate family are aware of that passing, and then it kind of goes to aunties and uncles and cousins and friends, once they're all aware, once the actual family member decides to post it on social media, then other people are allowed to get involved, aren't they? Like, or, you know, I'm really sorry, thinking about you, sending love, sending condolences. But to find out that way, is it because the sister-in-law was in such shock and wasn't really thinking straight because he died suddenly, and she said to her son, you need to let people know, not knowing the age of this son, your nephew? Did he think if I shove it on Facebook or Instagram, then everyone will find out? I don't know what's happened here, that where it's all just gone a bit wrong. At the end of the day, your brother's passed away and he's died suddenly. It must have been a big shock, and I'm sure it still is for you all. Don't think there's any blame here. Is there a correct way of a death notification? I don't know. I'm sure the way this has happened is definitely not the correct way, if ever there was a correct way. How do we notify people? A phone call would have been nice. Hi, Auntie, I've got some bad news. I'm ringing to tell you that. And then when you're scrolling through, it's not a massive fucking shock, is it? That would have been the correct way. That hasn't happened. But what has happened is your poor brother is no longer with us. So I wouldn't look at blame or upset or anger here towards your nephew. I would certainly have a word and say, that wasn't the right way to do that, Flower, when we're no longer grieving, when things have died down a little bit. He may have not known what to do when Mum's husband has died suddenly, Dad has died suddenly. It's his responsibility. It could be a 14-year-old child for all we know. You don't say much. And that's the best way he's thought to do it. So I'm ever so sorry for the loss of your brother. Is there a correct way of death notification? Yes. You expect all immediate family members to know first, and then it's up to them to decide what to do with that news. Once that's happened, then yeah, it is on social media, I guess, and people want to pay the respects and send the love and condolences. But I don't think for 1 minute it will have been done in a way where you didn't matter. And I'm feeling that that's probably what you're feeling, that you weren't important enough to be told until everybody else was. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah. I mean, when my godfather died, my Uncle Joe, I waited. I mean, my godfather, my Uncle Joe, we shared the same birthday. He was incredibly special to me. But there was nothing I did on social media until his 3 daughters had. You give their immediate family that moment. It's theirs. Even though it was my uncle, my godfather, nobody else had his birthday. I was born on his birthday. It was their dad. So I think it's about a maturity thing, a moral thing. Yeah, is there a correct way? Yeah, there is. Are people always going to follow that path when they're grieving, they're in shock? I don't know. But I'm really sorry. I am really sorry. Moving on. Dear Antonelli, here we go. I can't stop making up problems and writing into agony ants about them. What should I do? Ha 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 ha. Moving on. Hello Antonelli, I am writing and feeling with nowhere else to turn. This topic is embarrassing. You know, it's funny. My husband and I have been together for 13 years and married 11. We get along great and hardly ever argue, but somewhere along the way we stopped putting effort into our relationship and slowly turned into sleeping separately with him on the couch and me in the room with the dogs. We have discussed the situation a few times at kitchen table and we would change it, but nothing ever has. At this point, it's like living with a relative. It does not believe in therapists and says that we do not need it. I love him dearly and only want him, but for some reason, I'm also feeling that my sexual desires have disappeared. I'm only 38, please help. Well, if your sexual desires have disappeared, so start at end at tail, your sexual desires have disappeared because you're not being sexy with your partner and you're not feeling sexy towards your partner because your partner doesn't feel like a romantic interest and there's no intimacy with your partner and you've lost that. What was it that got you together in the first place? You've only been married 11 years together, 38, and you're 38. You're still young. Can you remember what it was that you looked at him and thought, oh, he's a bit of me, he's a bit of a snack, and then you got married? What was it? What was it initially in those 2 years before you wed, when you were doing your courting, when he were romancing you, when you were excited? What was it that made you get butterflies in your tummy? What was it that made you fanny flutter? What was it? And we need to go back and see if that's still there, because if that's lying dormant, fantastic. You can then bring that out of remission. If it's no longer there and there's no way of going back on this, because the longer you leave it, the harder it is, then I'm afraid it's good night Vienna. It's hashtag bye Felicia. Who's going to get the fucking dogs? Sounds like you, because you're the one who's stuck in a room with him. You need to go back to basics. You need to stop thinking about sexual desires and you need to stop thinking about no sexy time and you need to go back to exactly what was it that attracted you both to each other and talk honest and openly about it. Have a think and then tell him and just say, you know, when I first met you, I really liked them corduroy trousers that you wore. Could be anything. Really like the fact that you wore Adidas Classics, whatever it was. I really like, you know, remember that night we went out and we shared a bag of chips, whatever it was. What was it? And discuss that with him. Relight the memory of what it was when you were courting. What was it that made him want to propose to you within 2 years? Or maybe you proposed to him or whatever. So go back to those days, have a think, have a chat, see what you can do. Date nights are so important for us because things do become stale, things become so habitual, and life isn't very sexy. Empty dishwasher, doing the dishes, doing the dryer, folding, washing, who's ironing, who's doing weekly shop, who's picking kids up from school, who's taking them to fucking violin practice. It's not sexy, is it? So find that time to go back to basics and relive what it was in the first place. See if you can get it back. If you can't, I'm afraid it's over. Oh, sad. Dear Auntie Nelly, me and my partner have an amazing sex life. I love it. Woo. We then had a baby and we lost the baby. Oh dear. And it's gone so downhill. We did not have sex for a while, but we do again now, and it is quicker and we don't do half as much. She's not into dressing up. I don't know how to get it back. Oh, fuck a duck. I think this is a night time with Nelly that Mark slips in. Also, I'm worried that she may have had better sex with her exes, and I cry sometimes. Okay, right, okay. So, ignore the sex, and let's just talk about losing a baby, whether it be through miscarriage, or whether it be a cot death, or whether it be a stillbirth. You know, we can lose a child in many ways. I can't talk from experience. My daughter is 27 in October, but I can certainly talk from having a miscarriage. And I think it's now, I think it is common knowledge. I don't know if it's common knowledge. I don't know if I'm telling you this and nobody knew this, maybe. I lost a baby in June of, fucking hell, am I really doing this? Yeah, I'm doing it, let's do it. I lost a baby in June of 2019. Yeah. And I miscarried my little boy. And yeah, it was a complete, absolute, I don't know, it erased sexiness. It's like sexiness didn't even matter. Nothing mattered. The grief I felt, it was horrific. The last thing I would have wanted to do was have a sexual relationship. The last thing I would have wanted to do was dress up. Yeah, it's losing a child, no matter how you lose that child, is a massive thing. Now, I don't know how old your letter is, but believe me, I still grieve the loss of my little boy, and always will. And miscarriage really doesn't get talked about the same as if you have that baby in your arms, of whether you had, you know, people congratulating you, whether you were 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, gone to term. It is horrific. It is horrific, and losing a baby, no matter how, is life-changing. I think your partner, rather than enforcing or thinking, I've got these feelings because you've changed and sex with your exes must have been better and you don't want to have sex with me, and I don't think it's about that. I think you're completely missing the brief. You've lost a baby, both of you, and I think both of you need to go and see somebody, because it fucks you up. It can fuck you up if you don't talk about it, if you don't see people, if you don't tell people. It's a grief that you can't really explain. It's a grief where you'll grieve forever. You'll wonder forever. You know, I think, what would he look like now? What would he be doing now? When I see other people's babies on Facebook who would have been born around the same time as my little boy would have been, I think, oh, they're at nursery now, he'd be at nursery. You know, and it's forever. So I think it does change you, but I think putting pressure on to have a sexual relationship with your partner is massively a no-go. Absolutely not, absolutely not. And I've made a mistake, actually. I miscarried in June of 2018, sorry, not 19. June 2018 I miscarried, and I was 14 weeks expecting. Not that it matters. It doesn't matter when you miscarry. It's still as traumatic. So for all our little angel babies up in the sky, we love you. But yeah, I don't think you can certainly get your sexy back for some time. You need to deal with what's happened, why it's happened. Maybe this person's got a fear of having a sexual relationship again because they've got a fear maybe they may get pregnant again and they may go through that again. There's 101 million things. I've opened up a can of worms here. It is a bit of a night-time with Nelly, but I think you crying maybe is the emotions of losing a child as well, and wanting to feel that love and connection with your partner. But I think doing it in a sexy way is the wrong way to do it. It's about comforting each other, talking about it, getting the help should you need it, and naming that child. Name that child, give them a name, give them a gender, and never forget them. And then everything else, once you start healing, will fall into place. If that helps, if that kind of helps. It's not really a conversation. This will probably be at fucking Lancashire Telegraph now, won't it? It's not really a conversation I didn't know I'd not had with you, but it's a conversation that I'm more than happy to have with you, but I wasn't really prepared to have it. So I hope I've said enough to make you understand, but I don't think I've said enough because it's such a topic that makes a lot of people quite vulnerable. So there's a lot of reasons why somebody doesn't feel quite sexy after losing a baby. Yeah. Moving on. Dear Auntie Nelly, I recently found out my partner has had an affair. I found this out because I checked his phone. Oh, well, now, did you? Did you now? I know you're now rolling your eyes. Yeah. And found lots of very intense emails that he'd exchanged with another woman. Okay. I confronted him and he knew he couldn't lie because I had the evidence. I had all the messages and he begged for forgiveness. He told me it was just about sex. I think that this is another night time with Nelly maybe, but there we go. That he and his other woman had amazing sexual chemistry. But he claims he's not in love with her. In COVID, I lost my job. And I suppose I just lost interest in everything. I feel so angry that instead of helping me, he just went out and slept with somebody. I feel so insecure now. He says he's sorry and wants to work on our relationship, but my self-esteem and confidence have been destroyed. It's so hard to hear how attracted he was to this woman when we've been together for 8 years. Please help. Can you forgive somebody who's cheated, regardless of whether you found it in his phone by emails, you've seen them with your own eyes, you found them? Can you forgive somebody? You can if you talk about why it happened in the first place. Is it because you'd lost interest in everything, so you stopped going out, stopped washing, stopped going to work? What was it? What was it that turned him off you, that he felt he had to go elsewhere? What was it that you lost that connection as partners together? What was it that that didn't make him feel that he could support you during the time that you probably needed him the most? And then talk about the fact that I don't know if I can trust you. And if you can't trust him and you're not happy with the answers he's giving you to the questions you're asking, then the relationship's over. Without trust, there's no relationship. And this is for each and every one of you who's watching. If you don't trust each other, there's no relationship. And if you do say, okay, we'll give this a go, I'm sorry, I forgive you, I trust you, you do know that you can never, ever, 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 ever mention it again, ever, for the rest of your lives. Ever. Because that's what you're agreeing to. If you're saying, I trust you, let's give it a go, water under the bridge, you can never mention it again. But then if you throw it up every time in an argument, or you're going to never let it go, all you're doing is going into a relationship that's going to be so unhealthy and so toxic. Let it go. So have the conversation. I always say, when people have cheated on us, you know, they broke our trust, you've got to know how you are as a person. How are you as a person? Are you a forgiving person? Can you forget that happened? Can you accept the reasons why it happened? Can you carry on as you did? If you can't, it's not about your confidence and your self-esteem, because if it's now on the floor, believe me, darling, if you can't trust him, the minute he's late home from doing a Tesco shop, other supermarkets are available, the minute that wants to say he's going out for a stag weekend or whatever it is, can you imagine the trauma and the anxiety you're going to go through? That's what you've got to think. How am I as a person? Can I actually handle what's going to happen in the new phase of our relationship, knowing what he's done? Me? Absolutely not. Dear Auntie Nelly, my boyfriend used to be very affectionate with me and kiss me all the time. I think the last 3 of today's Sunday service should have been night time with Nelly, but it's all right because it is what it is. Okay, so he used to be very affectionate with me and kiss me all the time. Over the past month, he's just stopped. He just stopped kissing me. Okay, yeah, this is definitely a night time with Nelly. So I'm going to end that there. Yeah, she goes on to say other things that he stopped doing. And it's not for Sunday while this lovely lady's running around getting a roast beef ready. Because she starts talking about different kinds of roast beefs. So, where have you been watching me from? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It has been a pleasure to service you on this lovely, cloudy Sunday day. Please keep writing into the page for your Sunday services, your nighttime analysis and your review requests. And I will try my best to accommodate you. Any advice I have given on today's show has been purely for entertainment purposes. That's all it's been about. Yeah, sometimes nighttime analyses do slip into Sunday services. So if anybody out there, I have opened up subjects that you may feel more comfortable typing, please get in touch with me, and if I can answer you, I will do. But yeah, that's been today's Sunday service. And whatever you do with your day, enjoy. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. If anybody comments on your comments with prize gift, giveaway, competition, it's a scam, don't fall for it. And it's been a pleasure. And I'll see you all very soon.